Do you remember when you were growing up that your mom, maybe your dad, would make you dinner and there were some things that you particularly enjoyed eating? You go back to your childhood and yeah, you can remember, man, I loved when my mom made brownies or whatever. But I'm guessing there may also be something that your mother made for you to eat at dinner time, and you would prefer not to ever eat that again. My mom used to make asparagus. Uh, that was the nastiest stuff I ever tasted, but she told me it was good for me, and if you don't clean your plate, you don't get dessert. So, no asparagus, no brownies. So, you had to eat one to get to the other. But here I am, an adult pushing 70 years old, and now I get to make my own choices. And yeah, I still eat asparagus, but I eat it raw. I don't eat it cooked until it's all mushy. I have my own choices. So there are some things that I prefer to eat, and there's some things that I prefer not to eat. Now, if I know something is flat out toxic, that will make me sick, I don't care how tasty it is. I don't care how good it is. But if I know it's toxic, I'm going to avoid it. Now, stop and think about that, because what we are talking about is how to make ourselves toxic to toxic people. That is to say, how to put ourselves in a position where we are not eaten alive by toxic people. How do we get that done? Well, we make ourselves, we stop, I should say, making ourselves so tasty. We stop making ourselves individuals that they would want to mess with. We got some strategies for you. Here's how to do this. Number one is stop being so easygoing. Wow, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if you are an easygoing person, and there's nothing wrong with being easygoing, but it's the perception. If you are an easygoing, nice guy, the toxic person, the narcissist, will pick up on that, and they will say, there's a tasty morsel, maybe not in those terms, but they're thinking there is a victim, there's somebody I can pounce on, there's somebody I can take advantage of. Now, the narcissist is a toxic person, but as a toxic person, they don't like to deal with toxic people, they like to deal with people like you. People who are easygoing and are going to offer very little resistance. So, let me frame it like this. You see a couple little dogs there. You're going to want to go over and pet one of them. One of them is a pitbull, and one of them is just one of those little fuzzy, fluffy dogs. It looks like a floor mop. Chances are you're going to want to pet the floor mop. Personally, I don't want to pet either one of them because, I love dogs. I just want somebody else to own them. But the chances are the yappy pitbull, you're going to say, nah, I don't want to pet that dog. I'm going to go with the floor mop dog. Well, toxic people, narcissists, pretty much the same way. They're not going to want to mess with you if they see you as a pit bull. Now, I'm not saying you should go through life being a jerk. There's some people do that, and you probably know them, and probably you could name them right now. I'm not asking you to do that, but you probably could. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that sometimes we are so overboard in our easygoingness that we just set ourselves up as a target. It's like we have a red flag that says, "Hey, eat me. I'm a tasty little morsel here. I'm not mushy asparagus. Nah, I'm a brownie." Number two is this: don't be such a good listener. This is really hard for me. Now, people with Asperger's syndrome who don't talk a lot, people who are autistic who are prone to listening, this is a real challenge for these people because, well, that's what we do. We like to listen. We're perfectly happy letting somebody else talk. We have a nice, lengthy conversation where we say not one single word. Unless it's on a topic that we are really involved in, that we really love, then it flips. You can't shut us up. But people who are toxic, narcissistic people, they perceive that. They pick up on that. This is somebody who is a good listener. Now, they interpret that in their twisted little brains as meaning you are somebody who is easily manipulated, easily dominated, because the person talking is the dominant personality and the person listening is the recessive personality. And because you are listening and not talking, then they interpret that as you being an easy target. So don't be such a good listener. It's okay to be a good listener, but don't take it to an extreme. Number 3 is don't be a persistent, always never changing problem solver. By problem solver, I'm not talking about mathematical problems. I'm not talking about engineering problems. I'm talking about when people have needs in their lives and they need somebody to help them resolve their needs. That's where empaths step right in. We're just natural for that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem that we're going to face, however, with toxic people is they see us being nice. They see us helping other people. They see us as problem solvers. Somebody has a financial problem. Look who stepped in to help him out with a few bucks. Somebody needs some work. Okay, he hired him to do some lawn care. Or somebody else needs some work moving furniture or whatever, and this guy went out of his way, took a day off work, or took his day that was already off work and helped him move his furniture instead of going fishing. Now, a lot of people say, well, you're a nice person, and hey, I owe you for that. And they will come around and they will reciprocate. When you need something, there they will be. But toxic people, not so much. What they say is, there's a person that I can take advantage of. So we try to be problem solvers, and we try to meet other people where they are and help them in their needs with their problems. But with a toxic person, they're not seeing you as a problem solver. They're seeing you as low-hanging fruit. Number 4 is don't be so generous. Don't be so giving. Again, this is hard to do, but we have a sign, it seems, on our lives that says free stuff. If you need somebody to help you out doing something, you can come to me. One thing that we need to learn to do as empaths to ward off toxic people is we need to learn to find art and science of just saying no. I like to help people, I really do, but I also understand that sometimes I need self-time. So if I don't want to help somebody, I will say, no, sorry, I can't do that. Now, I don't do that all the time because I don't want people to think that I don't care about them. Plus, I just flat out like helping people. But the problem is we are often too giving, and sometimes we are giving not only of our time and we're giving of our resources. Sometimes we just, people need money, we flat out help them. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, I think. But again, it's something that toxic people with, people who are wanting to enhance their own lives at the expense of others, that's something they zero in on, take advantage of you very quickly. Okay, number 5 is don't be so painfully trusting. Yeah, I got a problem with this. I had to stop and think about it. But if there were a problem in my life that I could zero in on and say this is probably the number 1 problem I have, it is with being too trusting. I just presume everybody is a good guy. And narcissists pick up on that. And so they are very good at playing the part of the good guy so that they can take advantage of people like me and you. Those of us who are very trusting and assume everybody's honest and assume everybody's going to do the right thing by us and assume everybody's going to be grateful, and we assume everybody's going to reciprocate when we help them, they are going to help us. We just presume because we are just across the board trusting, and the narcissist says, let's take advantage of these people, let's put them in front of the line. And there they are. And we're wondering, how do we get involved with these people in the first place? And the answer is, we're just too trusting. So what is our strategy? Our strategy is to recognize that we have a problem being too trusting, that the whole world, every human being that lives and breathes, doesn't necessarily think exactly like us. Yeah, I understand theory of mind. In general, we all pretty much think alike, but there are those versions where people with narcissism don't think like us. They are not empathetic. They don't reciprocate. They are not trusting of other people. They take advantage of trusting people. Number 6 is don't maintain a misguided perception of reality. Okay, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that because I just mentioned it. But again, one of the problems that I have in my life is just that, a misperception of reality. I think everybody's a good guy. Now, I know better. I mean, cognitively, I know better. I mean, I can read the newspaper. Remember when we had newspapers? But, I can read the crime section. I can see that people do bad things. But for some reason, I still got this stuck in my head. That basically, fundamentally, everybody's a good guy. That is a mischaracterization of reality. And if we could learn to, and I don't mean to think that everybody is a bad guy, but everybody is a bad guy to some degree. So we have to consciously deal with this. Otherwise, these toxic people, these narcissists, are going to take advantage of us because they know that we're going to view them as nice people. And what an open door. They love people like us. I mean, they don't love us, but they love to take advantage of us. Number 7. Don't fall back on your childhood vulnerabilities. Why would I even say that? Where did I get that one? Well, as I was putting together my notes, that one came to mind as one of the reasons that we make ourselves vulnerable. Is we like to make excuses for ourselves. This is just the way we are. And guess what? This is just the way we are. I think nature has made certain people to be more empathetic than others. In fact, I know that to be true. Our amygdalae, plural, are configured differently than narcissists, psychopaths. They just are. Our limbic system is different. We think differently. Yeah, I know, again, theory of mind, but we think differently. And when we were children, we were easily fooled. Well, now we have cognition, developed cognition. Age 25 and all, our brain is, age 25 and after, our brain is fully developed. We don't have an excuse anymore. We can no longer go back and say, well, when I was a kid, I was abused, or I was taken advantage of, or I had this roughness in my life, these rough spots in my life, and now they're affecting me, and I have to let people take advantage of me. Well, I'm not saying that we should dismiss those difficulties in our childhood, because those are vitally important to understanding how the real world works. But we can't use those as excuses to let people take advantage of us, say, oh, well, that's the way I am. Rather, we should say, that's the way I am, and I'm older and wiser. I know how to deal with it now. And so rather than using those childhood vulnerabilities, we use rather those childhood experiences as classroom sessions, as boot camp that taught us, those bullies that we faced in elementary school or on the playground or in the neighborhood or wherever, they didn't go away. They just got older. Just like you got older, they got older, they are still out there. Don't be so vulnerable. Don't expose yourself to these toxic, narcissistic people. Do you see those two rectangles on the screen? If you want our conversation to continue, all you got to do is click one of those two rectangles. We just keep on talking, but if not, well, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you all next time.